The morning on September 11, 2001 started just like any other ordinary day. Everybody was basically on their way to work, unsuspecting the most tragic and horrific events that took place on American soil since Pearl Harbor. It was maybe 8:20 when I was already in the city, and when I walked to the office, there were twin towers to the north tower and the south tower. People frantically and swiftly were trying to escape from all the tunnels, subways, and the path train system. But for some reason, the time seemed to stretch. Everything felt like it was in a slow motion. The escalator ride felt like forever. People calmly yet completely disoriented were trying to basically get on the surface of, Manhattan just to see what happened. And then once they got out, they saw this horrific, unrealistic, and almost futuristic picture of the World Trade Center Twin Towers being on fire. Thick smoke covering lower Manhattan, along with debris consisting of office paper that apparently flew from the windows. There was nothing else for us to do but to embrace the fact that our freedom has been compromised.
My first reaction was to almost be upset that I wasn't there to experience it firsthand, and the distance only served to make me somehow more scared. As if I were there, it would be more real. But being so far away, I felt like my little corner of the world was next. I had trouble sleeping. I was obsessed in a way. I still am obsessed with 9/11. 10th anniversary. I'm watching everything on TV about it.
I was awakened by my phone ringing, and I picked up the phone only to hear my friend Eleanor screaming, "You've got to turn the TV on. A plane went into the World Trade Center." And I turned the TV on in disbelief, and it changed my life forever. I felt the sadness, I felt the disbelief, and it's still with me. Being in New York, you never forget.
It is still hard to believe that it's been already 10 years since Twin Towers are no longer a part of New York City's skyline. Twin Towers were iconic. They represented New York City. Every time I would land at Newark International Airport, the first thing I would see over the window from the airplane were the Twin Towers. And then you would say, okay, I'm home, 10 years ago, on a day when the terrorists hit the Twin Towers, the skies over New York looked pretty much the way they look this morning. Beautiful, clear, sunny day with a crisp air, and the only difference now is that where Twin Towers stood, now they are just footprints as memorial, and the new World Trade Center is rising above the New York City skyline. It feels very unreal even after a decade, especially that all the memories from all the events that I witnessed, being in Manhattan that day. It feels like it was yesterday. All the memories are still so vivid, and the most horrifying moment when I watched the towers crumble, and I remember how emotional I got, and my eyes got watery and tears were rolling down my cheeks, because I knew that at that very moment thousands of people were losing their lives.
Years later, it feels in a way like it was yesterday, but in a way it still feels unreal. The thing that lingers with me is that our economy tanked, gas prices went up, we're at war across the world, other countries are suffering economically. I think there's still unrest with the groups and the ideology that makes hijacking planes and flying them into buildings seem like a solution. Even though 10 years has passed, I feel like we're closer to the end than we are 10 years removed from the event.
I can't believe it's been 10 years already. It's not the same. The New York skyline, I was always so used to seeing all of the great buildings and the Twin Towers. And now that they're gone, there's a void. There's a void in my soul. There's a void in my spirit that can never be replenished. And even though they're rebuilding it, somehow it's never going to be the same. And we never will forget.
What's our understanding about freedom? Freedom comes with a price. Freedom is not something granted to mankind, although it should be. Unfortunately, in the system that we live in, the system that is in charge and in control of our lives, gives us very limited feeling of freedom. So often we say that the United States of America is a free country, but is it really?